Claire and Ramal arrived in the Tios and landed at Amidar Square. It is an almond-shaped square located in the northwest of the island. Claire had suggested that they eat at Cortania before going to the library. Ramal knew that Claire was just trying to make Ramal feel a little better. But it didn't matter to him either way. Anyway, there's no choice to him. At the same time that Ramal landed on the square, Claire flapped the 6 wings that had grown on her back and flew off from Ramal's back. The force of the shock made Ramal stumble and fall on his bottom. "As usual, you're not good at flying," Claire said as she landed on the ground and laughed, then suddenly felt someone looking at her and turned around. There, a man was sitting on a kutea in front of the fountain and looking at her. Next to him, there was a dragon lady. Seeing the man, Claire was suspicious. The man was wearing a strange white outfit that reached down to his knees and was tapered at the waist, along with sandals. Judging from his clothes, Claire thought he wasn't from the underground city. However, the aura he emitting was no different from that of the people in the underground city. Seeing the man staring at her, Claire couldn't help but bow. Then, without a second thought, she left the place. Ramal transformed into a human and chased after her, rubbing his butt. "Did you see that guy?" Claire asked Ramal as he followed her out onto the street.
"Who are you talking about?"
Claire, who was flying lightly, stopped and looked back. "It's the man sitting by the fountain in the square," Claire said, as if to ask why you don't know. Ramal looked up and recalled the scene in the square.
"Oh, yeah, the man who was with the dragon lady, right? I saw him."
Claire sighed at Ramal's response and put her hands on her hips and said, "Didn't you feel anything when you saw him?"
"Feel anything?"
Claire sighed again and shook her head. "That guy is definitely not from underground world, right? Maybe I guess he's from the surface world?" Maybe," said Ramal, but Claire seemed excited as if Ramal's word didn't reach her ears. She happened to be taking a class on the history of the surface world today, and planned to go to the library and see what the surface world is like. At such a time, by chance, I met a human from the surface world. It must be fate, Claire thought. Claire felt excited, thinking that something wonderful was about to happen. A dragon descended from the sky. It was a little blue dragon. On its back was a girl with 6 rainbow-colored wings. As soon as the dragon landed in front of Pharos and Elandra, the girl flapped her large wings and floated down from the dragon's back. The force of the girl jumping up caused the dragon to fall on its bottom. The girl who landed on the ground had skin as white as Elandra's, and her blonde hair was curly and down to her waist. She is wearing a long pink dress and a silver bracelet that wraps around her arm like a snake. The wings on her back are as big as her height and are slightly transparent. The girl landed silently on the ground and for some reason politely bowed to Pharos. Then she slid across the ground toward the street. The dragon carrying the girl transformed into a human and hurriedly ran after her, rubbing his bottom. It was a boy with blue hair and the same height as the girl. As Pharos followed their path with his eyes, Elandra said, "Well then, let's go."
"Going? Where exactly are we going?"
Pharos somehow managed to get there by following the guiding stone, but the light from the guiding stone had already disappeared.
"You will surely be guided, and so, follow the signs and move forward."
Pharos disagreed with Elandra's words.
"I can't be so carefree as to say that I'll surely be guided. I think you know that I have to save Emerua's life. I have to find the dragon stone quickly in order to break Emerua's curse. We can't just wait around for signs to appear, can't we do something?"
Elandra quietly shook her head in response to the impatient Pharos.
"Unfortunately, I don't know what will happen next. If necessary, you will be guided to the dragon stone, but even if you are not guided there, that would be a necessary outcome."
What do you mean? Does that mean Emerua will be saved even if we don't get the dragon stone?
That is unclear. Even if we were to obtain the dragon stone, I don't know whether Emerua's life would be saved.
What?
Pharos was speechless. Then Elandra said,
Trust in your fate and surrender. Everything happens for a reason.
After a short pause, Elandra added, and also,
There's no need to worry about time. There is no time in this world. So whenever you return, you'll be back to the exact same time you were when you came here.
Elandra smiled at Pharos, who was furrowing his brow in suspicion.
I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. This world and the world you live in are on different dimensions. So everything here is different from what you think is normal. But in this world, all of that is real and true. Just like everything you see and feel in the world you live in is real and true to you. But that doesn't mean that this is a particularly sacred place or that this world is more wonderful. It's just that the dimensions are different.
Hearing Elandra's story, Pharos nodded in agreement. It's true that there are dragons in this world, and humans who grow wings and fly in the sky. There are chairs that float in the air, and boats that float through the streets. Common sense on Earth probably doesn't apply here. If so, maybe it's true that time doesn't pass. After thinking for a moment, Pharos began, by the way.
You say it's a different dimension, but what exactly does that mean?
Elandra tilted her head slightly, as if thinking.
Well, for example, imagine a building with several floors. The difference in dimensions is like the difference in the number of floors. The view differs depending on the floor, right? That's the only difference. No matter which floor you're on, they're all ultimately part of the same building. So neither is better than the other. Of course, the difference is that the higher you go, the more you'll see things you couldn't see before. Most people believe that what they see at that moment is the whole of the world. But one day, they will find a staircase and realize that they might be able to see a different view.
Does that mean, for example, just like how I found this new world?
For example, yes. At the moment, only a limited number of people and in a limited number of places are allowed to access this world from your dimension. But by making new discoveries like that, everyone gradually expands the boundaries of their own common sense. And then, little by little, you release the limitations you have set for yourself and eventually return to an infinite existence. Everyone who exists in this world is on that path. So am I, of course.
Returning to an infinite existence, what does that really mean? As Pharos was pondering that, Elandra said,
There's no need to think too hard about it. You just have to act the way you want to. That's the very reason you exist in this world.
Saying that, Elandra stood up.
Well then, let's go. The signs are already shown.